저희들은 검사 결과에 대해서 의사분들이 보시고 이런 환자들을 많이 경험하실 테니까 이 수치는 HRT를 받는 사람이다 혹은 이 수치는 HRT를 받는 사람 같지는 않다라는 전문의분들의 소견을 좀
Clinic is in session. Hi everyone, Dr. Bobby Striker here with Flow Physique Factory. Please do check out our website on www.3f.energy for evidence-based medical-grade weight loss plans. I want to thank everyone for all their comments and views and all the discussion that's taken place on our last video. And since our last video, Kim Jong-kook has released his blood test results showing his testosterone levels and all kinds of stuff. And of course, a lot of you have asked us to go and have a look, so that's what we've done. And I want to make my stance clear again. So in our last video, we said that we think that Kim Jong-kook is likely natural. And do we still think that's the case? Well, let's get into that. But many of you have made the argument saying, oh yeah, look, he's a natural athlete, lifelong athlete, health freak. He's a nice guy. He eats chicken and broccoli. Listen, none of that matters. Everyone does that. Everyone eats chicken and broccoli and everyone trains hard, but not many people look like that. And, you know, he's approaching 50 years old, half a century old, and the guy looks great. We said he thinks he looks natural, but of course, Professor Greg Doucette didn't. And now that his results are out, what do we think? And remember, if you went to court, you can't say, he's a nice guy, you know, yeah, give him benefit of the doubt. That doesn't fly. We need to try and be objective and look at the evidence. So we're going to see if we can separate fact from fiction. We're going to try and be objectives, but remember, to do that, we have to keep our feelings out of the discussion, you know? I think there are a lot of diehard supporters out there, and there's actually a lot of diehard doubters too, which is why the conversation is so amusing. It's like when you go to the forums and you see discussions about who's going to win in a fight, One Punch Man or Superman, and there's really diehard advocates on both sides. But, people can literally get obsessed, and that's going to cloud your judgment. So let's everyone take a chill, okay? Put on our scientific medical hats and see what's going on here. There's lots to discuss. We're going to look through the videos, lots to unpack. Do we still think it's natural? Well, let's find out. Okay, first thing right off the bat, which I think is really funny. Even the doctor is shocked by Kim Jong-kook's previous testosterone result. And it's probably the worst time to crack jokes. He's literally joking, saying, are you sure you're not on stuff? Are you sure? Okay. And then moving along in the video, we get to scenes where Kim Jong-kook is having a bit of a monologue out on the roof, and he's attempting to discredit Greg in a way. He's talking about his past and his drug scandal, which anyone who's followed Greg Doucette will be quite familiar with, and he's discussed himself in detail many times. And Greg has really kind of touched on that, and I think a lot of people are actually very happy with the level of transparency. And if some people argue it gives him all of that experience to now be in a position to talk about all that kind of stuff, so be it. So Kim Jong-kook then goes on to talk about how he doesn't like anesthesia when things go inside him. I'm talking about scopes, so get your heads out of the gutter, guys. And then Kim Jong-kook says some stuff about how Koreans are more advanced in terms of natural training, and the West is more kind of dependent on enhanced training. This is really very subjective, and you can't really prove it. Back in the day, in the Soviet bloc, you had Russian strength training, you've got also German volume training, and every place has their own kind of approach, and they think it's the best, but it's really very subjective. And a lot of it's been researched, actually put through clinical trials and stuff, and ultimately the ones that do well follow similar kind of core essences which have been proven through scientific research to be important to lead to muscular development, which we've also touched on in our other videos. Korea definitely has some good bodybuilders. I love watching a YouTube channel called Monster Zim. That's Monster, then Zid, Zim, Z-Y-M. You can check that out. And there's this guy called Chol Soon Hwang. Again, forgive me if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but he's quite a character. So if you want some entertainment, go and check out that guy's channel. And then If we continue watching Kim Jong-kook's video, confusing matters further, towards the end of the video, the doctor says that just by looking at the results, you can't really comment whether any injections had been taken. He says it's hard to say if there were injections by looking at his results. So here's the moment you guys have been waiting for. Let's look at the results themselves. Okay, so at the top of the blood test result, we have IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, and DHEAs, which are both on WADA's banned list. WADA is, of course, the World Anti-Doping Agency. Now, the list of substances on WADA's, banned substance list is absolutely insane. So, I mean, what test do you really want this guy to do? I mean, we'll pop it up on the screen. You can have a look through and you can pause it, but it's literally a colossal list. And a lot of this stuff, you'll be surprised, wherever you are in the world, a lot of this stuff you can get your hands on relatively easily, which is why people talk about all this stuff. And then on the results, we've got vitamin D. Why is that important? Well, because it can affect your SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin levels. So vitamin D can affect your sex hormone binding globulin levels, which can then in turn affect your testosterone readings. And then, of course, we get to the total testosterone itself. So Kim Jong-kook's total testosterone was 8.38 nanograms per milliliter. And you can see on the report, it says high, okay? Then you've got the free testosterone, which is at 9.56. Now, some of you might be thinking, whoa, his testosterone is high, case is closed, the dude's not natural, he's on drugs. But it's not so simple. Start off, let's just look at the reference range. You can see the reference range here, but it actually varies a lot from not just country to country, region to region, but from lab to lab. If he went to another lab in Korea and another lab, they would likely all have slightly different reference ranges. And then you look at other countries, they would also be completely different too. These reference ranges are kind of local averages. So the lab probably decided on an average range which is typical of their population, of the local demographic there in South Korea. And typically it would represent a bell curve. Most of the people would be kind of in 95% of that bell curve. And there'll be outliers on either end, but it still means you're natural. Okay, so looking at this result alone, you still can't say much yet. So I'm going to pop up a table on the screen to kind of show you kind of rough normal testosterone levels for men at different ages. Now, like I said, this is going to be open to discussion too. I drew these numbers from a Harvard research paper, but again, it's not hardcore. The levels are very fluid and different for different people. So for a guy in his 40s, the norm, according to this table, would be 252 to 916 nanograms per deciliter. And if you convert to the units shown in Kim Jong-kook's lab result, that translates to 2.52 to 9.16. So you can see that his result is actually within this normal range. So even though the lab result said that it's high, based on this Harvard paper, his testosterone result is actually normal. So some of you might be thinking, well, there you go then. So he's not taking drugs, he's natural. You can see how easily these things can swing one way or another. But it's still not so simple. If he was on testosterone, he would not only have a high testosterone, he would also have suppressed gonadotropins, suppressed luteinizing hormone, LH, suppressed FSH, follicular stimulating hormone, and suppressed SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin. But these things were not tested. Okay, so you can see here that his testosterone is high, but you don't have your LH, FSH, and SHBG results. His free testosterone, that's the bioavailable testosterone, is normal. And if you're on HRT or testosterone replacement therapy of some sort and you're injecting, you can sometimes get results like this. You can do. Sometimes the free testosterone might be high, but if your replacement and you're injecting really on point, you can get results like this. If someone's been really abusing testosterone and say they've recently stopped, so they've come off it, your total testosterone would be low. Your LH, FSH, and SHBG, probably all of it will be suppressed. So this result suggests to me that he's not recently come off testosterone. So based on this result, all you can really kind of comment is either that he naturally has very high testosterone or that he is injecting testosterone, okay? Unfortunately, he doesn't have the gonadotropins on this report, the LH, FSH, and he also needs the SHBG, and he also needs thyroid function. Why thyroid function? Because thyrotoxicosis and raised thyroid hormones can raise your SHBG, which in turn will give you a raised total testosterone result. So you can see, you can't draw any meaningful conclusions from the results that he's posted online. So what do I think? I think that despite everything, with all the results and everything that I've seen, I think he's still natural. Yeah, even though he's got a high testosterone result and he doesn't have those other things to really allow you to kind of make that medical grade diagnosis, I think it's natural. And why do I think that? I'm kind of reading between the lines, because if he was really clued up in these matters, he probably wouldn't have even tried to clear his name, because he would kind of know you can't. You're just opening a bigger can of worms. Yeah, like I said in my last video, the results really only tell us the situation right now, and it does show a raised testosterone, but it doesn't also check for all of the other non-steroid hormones, which some people have also started to talk about, and they're also really easily accessible and sometimes easier to get your hands on. In some gyms, in some parts of the world, it sounds crazy, because it's so rampant, they actually put sharp spins and needles there so that, try and help these guys not share needles and, of course, have the risk of AIDS and HIV and all of that. They don't condone it, but they think, if we can't stop it, we might as well try and help our gym goers do it safely. It's really that crazy in some parts of the world. I'm pretty sure that's not the case in Korea, but nonetheless, these substances are still available in most parts of the world. If you really want to talk about testing, like I said in my last video, the only way you can really do it and really prove that you are a natural athlete is to do year-round, regular, random tests. And some of you even commented on our video last time, like saying, oh, look, you're not giving him an option to get out or to clear his name. That's not my choice. It's just because that's how these kind of performance-enhancing drugs work. Yeah, and this is the rule set up by agencies like WADA. So if we look at athletes who are being regularly tested, like this chap, Russell Orhe, so he is a powerlifter under IPF, the International Powerlifting Federation, and they perform what is known as OMTs, out of meat testing. So they do random tests, unannounced. They can literally just turn up to your house, to your door, and he's even done videos about this. We'll pop up a clip of him talking about it.
When you compete in the IPF, you get OMTs. So OMTs are out of meat testings. For the people that are watching my YouTube channel or people that are subscribed to me already, you know that I get tested frequently out of meat. I literally have people coming up to my door around the year testing me.
So he's had about 16 tests over the last few years, randomly, unannounced. So you've got zero opportunity to kind of plan and come off. Remember, if you're on testosterone, within a couple of weeks, your results can normalize to a certain extent, depending on how much you're injecting and how long you've been on. But with this kind of testing, you have no opportunity to kind of prepare or do anything. So this is how you really prove that you're natural. It's impossible to cheat. So this is how you get it done. And you can see for the average gym goer, for most normal people, it's just not feasible. And that's why I said in my last video that realistically, he's probably not going to be able to clear his name. So at this point, what's my advice? My advice to Kim Jong-kook is just to put it all behind him, because ultimately, it's not really a fight you can win unless you go to those extents and WADA really takes you up on and as one of their athletes and do that. Otherwise, you just can't prove it. You've done enough to satisfy your fans and the general public at large, but you will probably never be able to do enough to satisfy your doubters. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Like I said, I don't organize how the body works, how things run, how the testing works. These drugs are like that, yeah? They can come in and out of your body quickly. You do a test now, it tells you what your situation is now. It doesn't tell you what the situation was maybe a few years ago. It doesn't tell you if you're a lifelong natural athlete. The tests are literally a snapshot of what's happening now. If Kim Jong-kook had posted his results with those other tests that I mentioned, then you would have been able to say a lot more concretely that he's definitely natural right now. But with the test results that he's posted alone with the raised testosterone, it does kind of make it dubious. At least some people, I'm sure, will say so. Okay, now if we go back to the initial conversation, which is between kind of Greg and Kim Jong-kook, Greg's angle is that he feels that people have this kind of impetus. There's a lot of social media like Instagram, fitness models and all this kind of stuff where everyone looks like He-Man and She-Ra. Everyone looks amazing with the six packs. And he wants to teach people that these are often very extreme body standards. What we see on Instagram, it's not healthy. It's not realistic for most people. Because a lot of people will start working out when they don't make any progress, when they don't look like their heroes and their idols. They just kind of either give up, which is not great, or they feel like the pressure's there to kind of live up to these expectations, and that kind of leads them down the wrong way, and they end up going down the PED route, which is not great. Kim Jong-kook's angle, of course, is he doesn't want to tell people that they can't look like him naturally. He doesn't want to tell people that they can't look like him naturally because he's worried that if he does, people won't even bother trying. So you can see these two kind of opposing, but in a weird way, similar things. So the sweet spot is probably somewhere in between. To be honest, I think the two of them should probably collab and maybe make some super fitness brand and then become best friends, who knows. So that's my kind of mindset. I think he's probably is natural, because I think if he was really clued up, he would understand that the drug test wouldn't clear him fully. And if he was so smart that he was able to inject at the perfect quantities to give him a free normal testosterone and also, just a borderline but pretty reasonable total testosterone, or if his coach is doing it, remember there's a lot of athletes who are not injecting themselves. If the coach is injecting him and his coach is that smart, the coach would have also have advised him, don't get this test done because it's not going to prove anything and people are going to call you out for it. So because of these reasons, because if he was really clued up about testosterone, about drugs, and about performance-enhancing materials and substances, he probably would have known that these tests that he's just done wouldn't clear anything. So because he's gone ahead and done the test, to me that suggests he's not super well informed about performance-enhancing drugs, and again, hence that leads me to believe that he's most likely natural. Not because he's smaller than he was before. That can simply happen if people start injecting lower doses and all of that stuff. So I hope that answers most of your questions, especially that one joker who said, maybe this guy's not even a real doctor. Anyhow, so a lot of useful information in this video. I hope you find that useful, give you a lot of stuff to digest. Maybe you'll be better at interpreting testosterone results now. If you found this useful, please do like and subscribe to our social media channels. Like this video, hit the bell for notifications, and we will see you in the next video. Don't be late for your appointment. Bye, guys.